Hey road trippers, we're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just a few minutes away from the beach, and we're going to show you Broward County's George English Park. This park is perfect for pickleball, tennis, basketball, walking, and a whole lot more. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Jason from Road Trippin' with Takis, also known as RWT Adventures. First thing you want to do is either pay by phone or use a kiosk and pay for parking. The machines take credit card, just like you'll see all over South Florida. You can grab your ticket and put it in your car's window. Since it is South Florida, be prepared when lightning is in the area. This is a look at the boat ramp. We'll be walking around the lake in a little bit. One of the biggest things you'll notice here is the park is full of the invasive iguanas. They climb up the trees, they're all over the ground, and you'll see them all over the place when you go for a walk. This one got a little bit spooked and fell in the water, so trust me, you'll see them everywhere here. Here's a look at the two basketball courts that they have. They're brand new. They look really nice. The lines are painted well. And every time we've been here, we haven't seen another person. It was perfect for our kids who are training for their basketball teams in school. So we took full advantage of this. And right next to this boat ramp sign, if you have little ones, be careful of the silk floss tree. They're beautiful, but you don't want them getting hurt on the prickles. And here's the boat ramp sign. We're going to start walking around the lake now. As you can tell, they have a nice sidewalk, and to the right there's a walking trail. We'll go along that in a couple of minutes. They have beautiful trees here, lots of flowers, and as you can tell, there are some shaded areas. Right now it's covering the walking trail. But up ahead is a bus, and it's actually used by a maritime school. There are some people taking classes here right now. And out on the street, of course, there's a public bus system. If you are driving here, make sure to pay attention to the parking signs and know that the park is pretty much open from sunrise to sunset. There are manatee in these waters. Please slow down and take care of the wildlife. There are plenty of benches along the walkway, so if you get tired, you can just sit down. We're going to continue a little bit further along, and there are views of the water along the path, more benches, and hotels and apartment complexes off in the distance. I'm just walking by this lady taking a little break, but we're going to head over here. This is one of the other boat ramps. We're going to pass by these trash cans. The park is pretty clean, and as we make our way out to the dock, you can see it's a pretty good spot to put your boat. And the water, what does it look like down below? It's pretty much like every body of water connected to the intercoastal. It's not super clear, but it's good enough. And here's a full view from this pier. As we head back, you can see the steepness of the boat ramp. It's pretty standard, and there are places to dock on both sides. But surprisingly, there weren't a lot of people here. We're going to cut across over here for a second and get a little bit closer to the water. I'm going to head through this grassy area and along the rocks. And I found something digging around in the dirt. There were lots of little crabs in here, so that was kind of fun to watch for a little while. Just moving around, trying to get away from me. Watch your step as you get closer to the water. The rocks are a little bit loose, but here's a view of the other side. We saw those hotels off in the distance a little bit ago. It's a nice isolated spot to hang out. Over on the right-hand side, these shipping containers have a lot of their gear. So if you're interested in renting kayaks or canoes or other equipment to go out on the water, there's a spot up ahead. Take notice as we move in this direction. There's plenty of parking. We did visit in the summer, midweek. That could have been another reason why there aren't a lot of people. Everybody could have been at work. If you are interested, they have their rates posted, and they have water bikes, jet skis, and other craft. So check them out if you're at this park. This is definitely not sponsored. The people here seem pretty nice. Now I'm going to take you over to the road. The white structure on the left should look familiar to you if you ever hang out at Fort Lauderdale Beach. They have a lot of those everywhere. And since the park is right across from the mall, it can get a little bit noisy over here. So if you're looking for peace and quiet, you definitely need to get away from the road. There are bike rentals here. You can tell a lot of people have checked them out. And there's lots of really nice tropical bright colors here. And here's a map of all the other rental places to drop it off. And here's the rental kiosk. Boat parking is pretty standard here. There are a couple vehicles to show you the size of the parking spots. But now we're making our way over to the fitness trail. The gear spaced out reasonably. And like I said earlier, there's a lot of shade. And the ground has pretty soft wood chips, so this makes for a nice trail to work out on. And this shade really does wonders on a hot day like this. There's a little more equipment, It's right along the water, and it's definitely a pretty park if you're looking to get away from the city for a little bit. Just make sure to use the trash cans while you're here. It is a nicely taken care of park. And we're going to head over to the tennis area. And as we walk over to this structure, just take in the sounds of this beautiful bird. Here's another parking area on the other side of the basketball court near the tennis courts. We're on our way to the George English Tennis Center now. We'll take a quick peek inside, and then right after I'm going to walk you around the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. The entrance is around back, so let's swing around here. This is a quick look inside. They have some seating areas and a couple of soda machines. Okay, it's time to head over to the tennis courts. And as you can tell, there are some shaded areas for you to sit in the bleachers. I'm not going to go inside there because there are people playing tennis. I'm going to duck off to the side for a second though. Here's another way to access the water. We're just on the other side. You can see where we were before off in the distance. And here's the full view from this side. All right, just like on the other side of the park, they have a running trail on one side and then a walking trail on the other side. There's another piece of exercise equipment, and they have a shaded picnic bench area over here, so you can just sit, relax if you have somebody taking tennis lessons. Here's an empty tennis court we can take a look at. There's lots of lighting here. The lines are nice and crisp, and everything's in reasonable shape. Let's walk down here and see if there are a couple more that are open, and there's 6 and 7. There are some absolutely enormous iguanas here. I'm going to see if we can get a little bit closer. They always run off though, so let's see how fast we can get over to them. Oh, looks like I'm not fast enough. Anyway, if you look up in the trees, you'll find them all over the place. So if you've never seen any before, don't worry, these pests are all over the place. I say that because if you don't know anything about South Florida, they are non-native species and they wreak havoc on the birds that live in the trees. Over here on the far side is a racquetball wall. This is the other side of the tennis courts. I'm keeping my camera pointed in this direction at the tennis courts because there's a school just to the left of me as I walk into this flower. And we're almost clear of the school now, but here is the baseball field that's attached to it. And just a bit further down here are the pickleball courts. To my right are the restrooms. And one thing I will say is these water fountains were awesome. It says cold water, and they actually were pretty amazingly cold.
It is cold.
Here's a sign of the park showing May 2001. This is a quick look at the pickleball courts. I'm not going to fully go on there because there are people playing. We're just going to walk along the sidewalk. Here's a good view of them without people on it. Everything looks really nice. And we're back at the main building. Right around the corner is the restroom, and you can see there are signs up with pickleball tournaments. They also have a recreation room, which was closed at the time, and they have lots of events here. It's very active. I'm going to show you the playground next. I love the fact that there's so much shade everywhere here. It's not the biggest playground in the world, but it's nice and padded, so if your kiddo falls, they should be relatively safe. There's lots of room for them to run around here if you just want to hang out outside and have a picnic. Let's go under this nice pavilion. You can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 benches, so you can have a little party here. And there's another playground area. They have a unique swing. The ground here is also pretty squishy. There's a lot of fun places for kids to climb on here, and it is shaded, so that really cuts down on that heat in the summer. You could just hang out here if you're a parent and watch your kids. Like I said earlier, there is a school next door, so it is fenced off over here. Let's make one more pass along this side of the pickleball court before we head out of here. All right, road trippers, I hope you enjoyed our look at George English Park in Fort Lauderdale. We have several other Broward County Park videos you might want to watch, so I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.